What's going on, everybody? It's your man with the plan, Shane Man 20, and on today's video we're going to be talking a little bit about that tuner right there. We're going to be talking about the tune that I had selected to run on it for a couple of weeks now, and then also one thing that I'm going to do over the course of time is explain to you guys the differences between just running with active fuel management versus not having it at all. So hopefully you guys will stick around and watch this video. It's going to be a really interesting one. So some of the things that we're going to highlight on this, I would highlight what it's like on the stock tune, but if you already drive these trucks, you know what to expect. If you don't, basically expect to have a really heavy throttle feel, and when you're driving through town and when you're driving on a highway, it likes to kick into V4 mode, or active fuel management likes to activate a lot more than what the previous gen trucks did. So mainly because the engine's maybe more specialized for that kind of purpose. But anyways, point of the matter is just to kind of let you guys know what it's like on this new tune with active fuel management on versus when it's not on. So it's going to take a course of about 2 weeks to do this. Right now we are on week 1, and right now I have it on the MPG booster tune with active fuel management on, and I've been seeing so far somewhere around the ballpark of an average of 22 to 23 miles to the gallon. Maybe because the flash on the tune is still relatively new and because it hasn't really had a chance to develop any long-term fuel trims, maybe. I have no idea. But in either case, that's kind of where we're at right now. I noticed over the course of the last 2 weeks that I did install it and kind of had it on here, I noticed as the week would progress towards the end of the week, it would the fuel trims would actually improve. It would get better fuel mileage, at least anyway. So anyways, we're also going to flash the tune again next week, and we're going to turn active fuel management off, so that way it's running on all 8 cylinders, and that way we can kind of see just how it feels, if we see any changes, and if fuel economy changes as well. It probably will, give or take, either way, so I guess we'll just have to see until then. So stay tuned. Hopefully you guys will like the results. Okay guys, real quick update. Today is Friday, and just want to let you guys know, unfortunately I had to take an extra trip yesterday because it was kind of mandatory. I needed it for work, so really didn't have a choice. But in either case, if I hadn't needed to make the extra trip, that's where gas would be for me normally. It's usually right at close to a quarter of a tank. Looks like tonight it's going to be at a quarter of a tank. So basically, as you guys already seen, that's how much I averaged over 50 miles. And then, yeah, there it is. Over the course of 27 miles, I've averaged 21.5 miles to the gallon. And that's usually pretty much on par with where I'm at, and even if I were to go and do the whole pump calculations, it would be pretty close. I'd be willing to bet it'd still be around 21 at the least. I've actually done the calculations a few times, and they always seem to come out pretty close. Most of the time lower, more so than not, but usually this gauge is a good indication of where I'm at, and that's usually about spot on with it. So just wanted to give you guys that update, and either Saturday or Sunday I will switch the tunes over, and we will get ready for a week of the same tune with no active fuel management. Also, just wanted to show you this 5.0 that was just sitting here, chilling out, having a good time. It is what it is. Well, hey guys, what's going on? Just wanted to give you guys a real quick update. I'm sorry about all the beeping. I just filled up the tank, as you can see, and I just changed the tune around. So now what we've got going on is active fuel management is now shut off, so it will run on all 8 cylinders all the time, and we'll go and see what kind of fuel economy we get with that. When I did my own testing, I didn't notice as much of a difference, but I guess we will just see. So let's go for another week without active fuel management. Okay, so initial thoughts from the point I left my house till now I'm reaching the first little town I come to, which is Rushville. So from the point I left my house till about now, the one thing I have noticed immediately is just how quiet this truck is, and the fact that it's not trying to go into V4 mode a lot. And I noticed that on the first part of the tune, the CAN tune, is it liked to go into V4 mode a lot sooner and kind of work the engine in V4 mode a lot more than what the stock tune would do, because stock tune wouldn't do it until much later on unless it knew confidently, hey, he's only going to be in a very part throttle situation, low speed kind of stuff, you know, anything below whatever. But the one thing I did notice is it would like to kick into V4 mode even when you were trying to accelerate, and until you would push down into the throttle, that's about the only time that you really got it to come out of that. So that's one oddball thing that I noticed about that tune, and it wasn't something I necessarily liked about it. So but otherwise, when you would be on the highway cruising, it would stay into V4 mode a lot longer. Generally, ultimately, that's supposed to give you a little bit more fuel savings, but I have an interest in knowing whether or not that would be any better on your mechanical components, you know. So working an engine on 4 cylinders, I would think, would be a little bit harder than if it was running on 8 cylinders. So that's kind of something that I know I took note of anyway. So but that is one thing that I initially noticed, and especially just cruising around town here in V8 mode. Again, full-time V8, it's still a lot quieter, just nice to run around in, and if you're running an exhaust system, it definitely sounds a lot neater driving around town, because you get that the overrun, I think, from the engine, and it just kind of sounds nice when you're just cruising around town. And especially with this transmission tune, it likes to hold revs, or it likes to hold gears rather. So a lot of times it just kind of sounds neat on the overrun with the V8. It did sound interesting on the V4 side of it, but because it would do the same thing on the firm transmission tune, which is what I'm running on this one as well. So normally you have to pick an engine tune and a transmission tune, and in this case, with the transmission tune, I'm running the firm shift tune for the transmission. And to be honest with you, on the firm shifts, I really like it. I would rather have that more so than I would the hard shifts. I just want to make sure that it definitely gets into gear, and it's just nice and firm and not too hard where it's uncomfortable. So definitely on this tune for the transmission, it feels much nicer and much more confident into its shifts rather than what it was stock. Now, while we're sitting here at the stoplight, one thing I can tell you right away that I notice on no matter what tune I put it on, as opposed to when it was stock, throttle response is almost immediately, you know, a thing of the past here. It definitely has throttle response right now. I don't have to push into it to get it to move or anything like that, and it's still very much drivable. I wouldn't say it's like the previous generation Silverado, the 2007 to 2013, which definitely had a very touchy throttle. I mean, all you had to do is like big toe it and barely push it down, and the truck would instantly start moving. So, but with these tunes, it definitely improves that feel by a lot. So I definitely say that this helps out a lot. Definitely makes the truck feel a lot nicer, and it feels a little bit more nimble on its feet. I won't say it's like quick, but it definitely feels a little bit more uppity. It definitely wants to move around, and case in point right here, it's holding revs right now, or it's holding gear. I think it's in 4th or 5th. It might be in 5th, and there it goes. It finally shifted. 4th going into 5th. We're going 45 right now. This is where part of the town is, and now we had to slow back down because nobody wants to go the speed limit. But you know, that's just kind of the thing that this transmission tune does, or it at least tells the rest of the truck that, hey, you know, I'm only going this fast. Whereas if this were on the stock transmission tune, it definitely would not have hung gear like that, like it normally would. It would have just shifted down immediately because it's like, hey, you're just cruising around. So, but if you give it a little bit of throttle, of course, it wakes right back up, and you're going right back up to full speed in no time. So, and of course, that's the nice thing about having it on full-time V8 mode, is you don't have to worry about it kicking out of V4 mode, especially on the other tune. That's another thing that was kind of interesting. And I also noticed people like to make note of not necessarily the surging, I guess, but maybe that's what I'm looking for. The surge that you kind of feel from going from V8 to V4 and vice versa. When you turn it off, you don't have that problem at all. There's definitely no surge whatsoever. You might feel a little bit of driveline slack, but I mean, it's very minimal, if anything. So, but that's one thing that has definitely disappeared once you've gone completely full-time V8 mode, and you also have throttle response back again. You know, it's not going to have any lack of trying to go kicking itself out of V4 mode and trying to give you what power it can. So I think that's everything I have so far as initial thoughts. I mean, it drives really nice, drives smooth, but I'll let you guys more towards the end of the week how the truck feels overall and how the gas mileage was on all 8 cylinders, as opposed to having the previous tune where it left active fuel management on, and then comparing all of that to the stock tune. So I will see you guys later on this week. Well, alright guys, it's Saturday afternoon. I'm actually on the way to a wedding, which is why I'm like dressed really nice and all that good stuff. And no hat because of that reason. So just wanted to do a real quick overview of everything as far as fuel mileage is concerned. Now it kind of is what it is, but that's about what I averaged all week on gas. And then there was one day this week where in a 50-mile average, I did average about 22 miles a gallon on all V8 mode. So I just wanted to give you guys that real quick update and do this kind of stuff real quick. And then when all this stuff is said and done, I will do a wrap-up video of what I think about both tunes, both versions, and kind of let you guys, you know, kind of give you guys all the information and let you decide what fits best for you. Okay guys, well now it is the next week. I've already flashed the ECU with the different tune back to where I wanted it. And so basically what I want to do now is go over the results and then basically tell you how I feel about the can tune versus stock, and then go over active fuel management versus non-active fuel management. So let's get into it. Going over the results first, what I have wrote down with the first week with active fuel management on and the can tune MPG booster tune, and granted during the whole testing it was the same tune and the same transmission tune, which was a firm shift transmission tune. I yielded about 21.5 miles to the gallon, which I think I'm pretty sure I showed you guys that. And the only reason it was like that was because I had an extra trip in there that I had to make. Really didn't like to make that trip, but it is what it is. But it probably would have been much closer to 22, maybe like 21.7. Might have still been somewhere in that same ballpark. But either way, that's kind of what you can expect out of the can tune right out of the gate with active fuel management on. And then the next week was without active fuel management. Again, same tune, same transmission tune, and I yielded 19.5 to 20.5. It probably would have been in that ballpark, but it definitely ended up at 19.5. And I think part of that has to do with the way the weather's been lately. It's getting into October. Well, we're at the end of October now, going into November. It's getting cold. Nothing you can really do about it. So I think that, and having the fact that we're going into winter blend fuels, so that's sort of where we're at with the results. We might revisit this again when I do the headers, and we'll do one in the spring when we're back to summer blend fuel. But in either case, that's pretty much what you can expect out of the with the tuner out of the box, at least in this time of the year. Now to give you guys my thoughts about the canned tunes versus stock. Now again, a lot of the tune that I did use for for the first month or so has been the MPG booster tune. Now, I have tried out this one other tune that they have on here, which they call their Diablo Flex tune. It allows you to use E85 and a minimum of 91 octane, so it's kind of similar to using 91 octane. It's like a similar tune to 91 octane, or you can use E85. It's either or. But in either case, I have tried out both, and compared to stock, at least with the most experience that I have with the MPG booster tune, I can tell you that over stock, I definitely like how the gas pedal feels now. It does not have that heavy throttle feel. It's very close to what the last generation Silverados and Sierras had as far as throttle feel. I mean, they're stupid touchy. You put your big toe on it and it moves instantly. So definitely have to say that compared to the previous gen Silverados, the 07 to 13, the throttle feel on this truck compared to those, it's very close. I won't say it's right there or that it's exactly like it, but it's very close. So I guess to say the very least, with both tunes though, I definitely like the Diablo Flex tune a lot better, because it definitely makes this truck feel a lot peppier, and it picks up and goes, and it's kind of hard to think a big heavy, like 5,000 pound truck wants to move that quickly. So anyways, those are kind of my thoughts compared to stock. The other thing is that with the transmission tune, the one that I've been using the most is the firm transmission tune. That makes this transmission feel so much better, and any sort of signs of slippage has kind of gone away a little bit. Not a whole lot, but it's definitely, it feels much better as far as transmission feel. I like it better that way, with a nice firm transmission tune. It goes into gear, you don't have to question it. It's definitely not hard. I don't really like that hard feeling, like definitely knowing that it's in there. I just like it going smooth, firm. That's what I like. I think it's the best way to go for my tastes anyway. So that's wrapping up those thoughts, and then I will give you guys my thoughts on the active fuel management versus non-active fuel management. So to go over the active fuel management versus non-active fuel management, again with the same tune, same transmission tune, honestly, if I had to pick either one, I would say non-active fuel management. The big thing with the active fuel management tune that first week was that the ECU liked to make the engine go into V4 mode a lot sooner. But at the same time, the transmission tune liked to hold gears a lot more too, so it would work the engine a lot harder at higher RPMs, which I found a little bit strange compared to stock anyways. But I mean, as far as like gas mileage is concerned, it's probably about on par with what it would be stock. Still not bad though. So it felt a little bit strange, and I still, after kind of having a week or two with the truck on the booster tune without active fuel management, I have to say I like the non-active fuel management much better. The truck's much more smoother, the power is linear, you don't have to worry about it kicking in and out, you can't feel that because it's not there. And even though I run 91, 92, 93 octane in this truck, which would actually be a lot better, and it's, if you haven't done it already, and in this case, compared to me running 87 octane, if I ran 87 octane in this, it likes to kind of bang in and out of V4 mode, and I never liked that at all. When I put 91 or 92 octane in it, it felt so much better, so much more smoother in and out of those transitions. So definitely to say with if I was going to tell you either way, if you're really in need of more MPG, definitely look into a custom tune. Out of the box, the booster tunes, or at least the can tunes, are okay for what they are, but I will tell you that look into a custom tune and they can probably get you set up just right. That's what I'm probably going to be doing for this winter, as much as I really don't want to deal with active fuel management anymore, just because of how I feel the truck handles without it. It's kind of going to be one of those things where I'll have to debate what I want to do, but all in all, if I had to pick, I definitely like how the truck feels without it, because at least when you get into it, you don't have to question it coming out of or kicking into, it's all smooth, linear power, and especially when you let off of it with this transmission tuning like it does. It likes to hold gears, so you'll be in like second or third gear at close to 2,000 RPMs, and you let off the gas, you get to hear the overrun, and I like that sound in the truck, and it sounds so cool. So from the sound department, it sounds great, but overall, how the truck handles it, it feels so much better. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. If you are definitely going to be doing a lot more towing and hauling, or you have absolutely no use for active fuel management, but you still want to keep the stock engine, look into a tuner, shut it off. You'll thank yourself in the long run. It's not really going to hurt it, but it'll at least save you until you have a collapsed lifter, and then you have to, do all that fun stuff. So that's pretty much my thoughts on the whole thing. The next video that I plan on doing is going to be a custom tune, and then I'll have some updates in there. But I just wanted to keep this all wrapped up based around the can tunes and the active fuel management versus non-active fuel management side of things. So until then, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also, if you're stopping into this channel for the first time, please hit that subscribe button because it means the world to me. I apologize, I hadn't posted in a week. I'm sorry. Also, do not forget about that notification bell next to the subscribe button. Make sure to hit that so you are always notified of when I post new videos, because you don't want to be left out in the dark, do you? No, you don't. Just hit the bell button. It'll save you a lot of time and a lot of trouble. With all that said, guys, hopefully you have a fantastic day and take it easy.